Hey y'all, I am still undergoing construction and I still have no overhead lighting, so I've got a lamp on my island and I've got the cabinet lights underneath on. I'm going to try to talk louder than normal, although some of you say sometimes you can't hear me, because I have still got 3 dehumidifiers randomly around my kitchen and they just spontaneously come on. I did cut the fans off because they are very, very loud, but I had someone comment on my page and said, make some old school recipes. I'd like to see more old school recipes. So in all this disaster and construction I've had going on, I was thinking about some old school recipes, and this one came to my mind, and it was probably one of the first, maybe I would call it a sweet recipe that I made in high school in home ec, and it's surprise muffins. So with construction people coming in and out, I want to have some goodies baked that are hearty for them but tasty. So I thought I'll make a batch of these because I haven't made them in so long, and I'll probably do a double or triple batch. So I'm using our full-size muffin pan, and the recipe, as I remember in home ec, we grease the bottom of the muffin pan only. Now you can use cupcake liners if you want to, but I just don't like to use them, and it doesn't scream homemade to me sometimes when they're in those wrappers. So far I have got I'm gonna do my wet mixtures first. I've got my dry ones already done, so it won't take as long, but I've got 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and we're gonna add in 1 cup of milk. So for this to be an old school recipe, all of the ingredients you'll see me use are typically things that were grown on the farm. They had cows, they had made their own lard, actually, their own grease. They had chickens, and don't we all wish we did nowadays? The price of eggs have gotten crazy. So this is 1 egg, and I just kind of put it in here so I could blend it well. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Some argue that vanilla is to go in dry ingredients, but I always put it in my wet ingredients. So I need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. This is Pampered Chef's double vanilla, so I really don't need to use but 1/2 teaspoon of this one. But it's delicious, and I want it to have full flavor. And I see this lamp that I got on glare, and I'm sorry, y'all, but I want you to see this old school recipe. Okay, so that is all. 1 cup milk, 1/4 cup oil, 1 egg, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So that's all our dry, wet ingredients. I'm just kind of whisking them together. Okay, get this out of my way. I'll put it right in my little measure-all cup. Now, I've got the dry ingredients already in my batter bowl, and this is simply flour, 2 cups of flour, only 1/4 cup of sugar. So they're going to be good. They're delicious from what I remember. I hadn't made them in a long time, but not a lot of sugar. 3 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. And again, I will share this recipe in the comments with you. So I like to just kind of stir those around. I haven't done that. In home ec, we had to sift them. My girls didn't even know what a sifter was the first time I made them. My oven beeping, it's ready. It's the first time I've put my oven on, y'all, since we had our bad flood in the kitchen this past weekend. Okay, so I've got a little well in the center, and I like to just pour a little, maybe 1/2 of my wet in, and just start mixing it. And just go nice and slow. This is a good one for kids to make. And I remember the home ec teacher telling us that we don't want to over mix it and go nice and slow, or the flour would cover us. And of course, as teenagers, we wanted that to happen. So what did we do? We poured it all in and mixed it as hard as we could so we'd be covered with flour and get excused from class. So now I'm going to put the rest of my liquid in. I didn't want to be excused from the class. I liked home ec. That was one of my favorites. They don't teach that at school anymore, or they don't here in our schools. Okay, so now that I've got it mostly wet, I'm going to go ahead and stir it a little harder. But again, I recall this is a recipe that you do not want to over mix and that your batter will be lumpy. And that's exactly what mine is looking like. The home ec teacher I had in school, her name was Miss Ball, and she has passed away, but I so wish she was still alive and could come cook with me. She was full of wisdom. Okay, so now I have got a nice, thick, almost doughy batter. See that? Okay, let me get a napkin, y'all. Sorry, I have to tiptoe over cords and fans. Okay, now the surprise muffins. The surprise comes from, and in school, we used jelly. So I've got some Smucker's raspberry jelly. I'm going to bump it up a notch because I made some chocolate peanut butter the other day and I want to try that in it. So I'm going to put some of that in one or two of mine. And I can remember my grandmama, when I talked to her about these, saying they used fresh fruit. So I'm going to try some with fresh fruit. Excuse me. Okay, so I have a medium scoop, which is 2 tablespoons, and that is what I'm going to start with in my pan. And I won't do the whole pan. I'll maybe do half of it and then finish filling it up off camera and come back on when they're done baking and show you what they look like. Okay, the reason I'm only doing one little bit in each muffin is now we're going to put in our surprise mixture. So I'm going to use a teaspoon. Pop this down so y'all can see what I'm doing instead of me. So I've got a teaspoon and I'm going to put that right on top of my batter. So I'm going to do a couple of these. And then I'm going to do some of my chocolate peanut butter, and y'all see how that gets hard in the refrigerator? So I've kind of got it clumped up a little bit. So I'm going to put some of that. I don't know how this is going to do, but I'm going to be anxious to see. That's going to be my favorite, I'm sure. Okay. And then, get that chocolate off my finger. I'm going to put in some of these fresh blueberries. These are probably going to be my husband's favorite. And my son-in-law's, and man, don't they deserve a good treat. I'm just going to do that right there. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in. Let me get another teaspoon, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm going to get my small scoop, and I'm going to go back in and put that on top of my batter, just like that. Yum, yum, I cannot wait. This brings back so many memories to me. Y'all let me know if you've ever made these surprise muffins. Surely some of you probably did it in school like me. I'm not the only old person who took home ec. And also maybe you made them with your parents or grandparents. And I also think that you could put some cocoa powder in these and maybe turn them into chocolate surprise muffins. And I do have a chocolate surprise muffin recipe. It's more like chocolate chip muffins though, with a filling. So I'll share that recipe in comments if I can find it when I share this recipe. But I'm going to finish filling these up off camera. I've got the ovens already preheating, so as soon as they're done, I'll come back on. So y'all stay tuned. Okay, y'all, these came out just as I remembered that they looked like. Nice and golden brown on the top. I only baked for 20 minutes at 375. The recipe was 340 degrees, but I just know this nonstick pan did not need that much. They smell so good and just make those memories come back. I wish the lighting was better so y'all could see. Look at that, look at that. All right, so I have just taken them out of the oven. I did take our cake tester and releaser, this lamp, y'all. I'm sorry. If you haven't been following me long, my kitchen had a flood and I have no lighting, so I've got lamps everywhere and there's noisy fans everywhere. So I did test them and they're done, and I use this flat end. And let me tilt this down. Just so I can kind of go around and lift them, and because I don't want to invert these out of the pan. So this one is obviously, look at that, jelly. This has the raspberry jam. And so does this one. Y'all look, yum yum. I'm not sure. Oh, this one's got that chocolate peanut butter. I'm gonna eat this one right in front of you in just a minute. Ooh, I can't wait. This one's got that peanut butter in it also. This bad boy has got the blueberries inside. I love the shapes that these make. And I think, I'll go ahead and take another one. This one's got blueberries in it also. Aren't they gorgeous? See if I can, here is another one with that peanut butter. And I will stop and I'll finish taking them out, and I will include some pictures. And look. Trying to do it over this so it won't fall. It's got that peanut butter inside, and I can't wait. Delicious. They are not sweet. Sorry, y'all, and help me, Jesus. I am tired. I was telling you they're not that sweet, and I was trying to tilt my camera back up so I could talk to you, and I guess I cut it off. But anyway, they are muffins. They're not really like cupcakes, sweet, but they are good. I love them. And my mind's just racing now on things that maybe I could put inside other than what I have, although my choices are just going to be delicious, I'm sure. So I'll quit taking them out, but the last thing I was going to show you, number one, look how truly non-stick Pampered Chef's bakeware is. It's amazing. And number two, I'm keeping mine in our cool and serve rectangular tray. I don't have the cooling pucks under it because I don't need to keep these cold. But I love using these because they have that clear design. So when these construction workers are coming in and out of my house, they can not only smell these fresh things, but they can see them and they can help themselves to a treat. So I love this. You can put a dozen, sometimes more than a dozen cupcakes in it to take to parties, and everybody can easily see what's in there. I like that the lid goes right underneath, so when you're serving it, you don't have to worry about somebody's breaking your lid or losing the lid. It's right underneath. So I will share this recipe in the comments. Y'all, please let me know if you remember making these. And I'll also try to find that one that I know I have somewhere that is the chocolate chips surprise muffins, and I'll share that in comments too. So I'm sorry the video is loud, the lighting is poor, but this flood has taken over my life and my kitchen. So look for both recipes in the comments. Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye.